And we're live. Whoa. A new Star Trek movie. What?
It's been double greenlit for all the times that the JJ movie's been ungreenlit.
Oy.
Which is how many times? All of the times. Yep, all of the times.
The Star Trek 4 movie's been announced and then not more times than we have Star Trek movies. For sure.
I was 20 years old when they announced Star Trek 4. I'm still waiting.
And I'm only 99.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so welcome back, guys. We're here today to just shoot the shit with you guys and talk the supposed Picard movie script that Patrick Stewart is going on about. Which is interesting. I think it might just be a publicity stunt, honestly, to get attention for Legacy or something.
They'd never do that. Yeah, we're going to discuss this. We've both been busy doing all the other things you'll see. Wait and see, guys. But yeah, sort of new announcement. We're going to talk about it, what it could mean, what we want to see, how they're all doing, etc. And I will start sharing.
All right, go do that. And I'll tell everybody here, 23 of you, to hit that like button. We have 9 likes currently. We want to get more than that, obviously. I think 20 is the first one, and then 50 is the second goal. So let's try to go for that right away. We want to hear your input and thoughts, guys. So please help us out on the channel by supporting us, by super chatting your thoughts in about this Star Trek Picard movie. We want to hear super chat thoughts. We do read them all on the air, so that's a very important thing for you guys. And yeah, we want to discuss this in great detail. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button. Join the channel. There's a join button down below. And also over on Patreon/Trekyards is another way you can support us on a monthly basis. Really a big deal to us, but immensely, more than you can ever know. And we really appreciate it as you become part of our fleet. We appreciate that. And which I'm looking at right now on the Discord right now, actually. So but yeah, so lots of ways to interact with the channel, including clicking those links down below. There are links to the public store where you get some Trekyards merch. That helps us out also. Plus, it shows us that you really love us, because when we go to a convention and we see you guys wearing our Trekyards merch, that makes us feel so good. So anything you can do to help us out in that regard, please do. But yes, today we'll be talking about the speculation about this Picard movie. What could it be about? Is Patrick Stewart too old? Do we really want this? Is it just a red herring to draw attention to Star Trek Picard again, so that, get more pressure to get Star Trek Legacy? I don't know. We're going to talk about it, and I want to hear your thoughts on it, guys. So please, like I said, super chat in. It really means the world to us. And don't forget that on Saturday, the 27th, that's this upcoming Saturday, we're doing a Drunkyards all afternoon. So come and join us for that, where you guys you set the tone. You get us as drunk as you want to. And hopefully we'll have some good conversations and discussions there. I might even do a impromptu game of Trek while we're drunk, which could be quite interesting. So at least consider that, and joining us for that, we'd appreciate it. But 35 of you here now, 17 likes. Hit that like button, guys. We're still not at that 20 that I'd like to get. Hit the like button. Everybody that's just joined us, we appreciate you guys. Anything you've heard about this rumor floating around about, Patrick Stewart kind of confirmed it, about Picard script, we want to hear your thoughts on. So like I said, if you can support the channel and help us out and get your voice heard, super chat in. We'd appreciate it. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Picard's memoirs, flashback when he was younger. Oh no, don't. Do we really want to see that? Old man Picard sitting in the chair reminiscing, and then you get flashbacks to a younger actor. Really?
Well, there's what we want.
Oh, look, Sam's back.
And there's yeah. Sorry, my PC's, everything is just chugging. So I just too hard to open stuff. I apologize if I go in and out. I don't. Let me know if the stream's okay, because everything's just being a bit odd here. Let me know.
Well. Oh, just for the record, the power's gone out on us twice today. Out and all the snow's melting, so I don't know if it's falling on power lines or whatever, but it's flickered out twice, just like for a second. So if I just randomly disappear, I'll be back But yeah, when he had hair, well, apparently, according to Nemesis, he never had hair, even though, according to TNG, in flashbacks, he absolutely had hair.
Although, of course, according to TNG, he also hung out with his grandmother, and then or his mother, and then retcon she hung herself. So fuck TNG is the name of the game of something after, because that's like the fact that I could come up with that straight away shows like fuck it. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Ray Ricks, £5. Thank you so much, Ray. You guys ever thought of writing script outline during Drunkyards and sending it to CBS? Likely still be more coherent than some of the disco episodes. Hey, you know what? As I told you guys during the preamble there, we do have our Drunkyards this Saturday. Maybe we'll attempt it. We'll see. It's up to you guys to set the tone for that one. So please join us for that and get us as drunk as you'd like. Who knows what could happen? There's a new poll up, so go vote on the poll, guys. It is, do you want to see a Picard movie? Yes. Yes, but only with Terry Metalis. And nah. Ooh. It's tied right now at about 33%. And then no, they're back to tied again. And now it's not tied. Good job. Go vote. That's a great one.
Because it's what's been interesting about Star Trek 4 is that they've announced it many times. Each time with a slightly different slant. One of which being the first female Trek director. Everyone's like, we're so proud of female directors. And then it's like, and she's been let go. As they all have been, right? Now, new director. That lasted. So, each person...
Don't forget Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, because the director's style is determined if I'm excited or not, right? It's not necessarily that there is one.
Yeah.
But, you could have, the guy was re-brought in to do Solo. He was brought in because he makes vanilla, well-made films. Not for any...
Ron Howard.
Yeah, not because of style, just because he's a good director, solid, right? Like Ridley Scott, you bring for a certain level of scale of visual and pace and ethos, but maybe not the best scripting, etc. Maybe not, right? So, if you bring in a comedy director, well, it's like, well, that said though, Fast and Furious chap, he clearly knew his shit because he barely was a Fast and Furious movie, barely, in one scene. So that's why I say Terry Metalis is important there, because he gets it. Someone else directing. But Patrick, we saw what season 1 and season 2 were.
Yeah. Well, I've heard this argument brought up about Terry Metalis doing a movie. He works in TV. He works on series, which is a different kind of... He's never done a big screen things. I don't know if that would be an influence at all. Like, I don't know if that would be a consideration for them, but... Ozzy throws in $5. Ooh. Let's do Foley maneuver on Saturday. Well, if you get me drunk enough and pay enough, maybe I will show you my nipples if anybody wants to see that.
But will they be thrusting or filled with power?
Thrusting nipples of power. I don't know. I'm getting older. I might need help to get the thrusting happening. Yeah. Anyway, what are we going to say about Terry?
I mean, yes, of course, but a 2-part TV episode can often be a movie. And I'm sure he's done many of them. I mean, All Good Things are a good movie. Endgame is a good movie. Year of Hell is a good movie, right? Not literally, you'd structure it slightly differently, but because I'm sure if Insurrection was a TV show, like episodes 9 and 10 of a TV season, you'd be more, whatever. So you are certainly right, but then you also could argue a movie gets significantly larger budget than 2 episodes of a TV show. So it's not a case of throwing him 25 times the money for only that amount of time. Although I would imagine he'd have a hard time compressing the story or telling a very simple story, which, I mean, look at the end of season 3. That is his movie, right? That is his TNG movie. It is a very simple story with some cool visuals, which is very movie-like, right? But obviously, came off the end of the series in season 1, 2, etc.
I think he's too old, though. Like, that's all we argue.
Terry, he's only 48. That's so mean.
Not Terry. Patrick Stewart, like 81 or something. And Dan brings up a good point. Become an actual movie or as it a cinema release or a movie that event released on Paramount Plus, like Section 31. I think if they go ahead with, I think they'd push for a cinema release personally, like another TNG movie. But it feels so kind of rude almost, because Voyager, DS9, they haven't got a big screen, like, unless they bring some of those elements in to this one. That'd be kind of cool. Voyager people or DS9 people for a cinema experience.
Star Trek, the 5 captains.
Yeah.
But everyone's very old.
Yes.
Old Kirk meets old Picard, and they fight old Soren on an old bridge. And old Cisco brings them together with old, pretty medium generally, obviously she's quite a lot younger. And very old looking Bakula. Because Bakula looks older than Shatner in a lot of ways. Very deep wrinkles, that man.
Mm-hmm. And New York and Vegas brings up another good point. Interference with the movie. Terry will not allowed to be Terry. Yes. Too many cooks in the kitchen kind of deal. That always ruins movies. But if you have Terry had more of a free reign and he was working on a movie, I would be very happy about that. So,
well, it depends if they take it as we're going to give you 300 million, we want say, or we'll give you 120 million, make something cheap. Just do your thing. You've got Patrick. He wants to work with you. Here's a low amount of money. Make a movie. Because studio interference is more how many investors are involved. If the challengers make it on a low budget for a movie, and then you're confident, I'm pretty confident they can make a giant return, he might be left alone. It's all about how big the budget. That's why that's why you need someone like Kevin Feige or he's a Marvel guy to be like, right, we're making a $1 billion Avengers duology, but I'm in control. Me, hello, and then wow, it makes $5 billion, etc.
Yeah. Or Ray Lavi puts in $10. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Here's a crazy idea. How about a new TV show set in the post-Dominion War timeline in the real Trek universe? I don't care if it's on a ship, Starfleet Academy, Starfleet Medical. The ship was held up. Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to that for sure.
I mean, that's been the ideal. Unfortunately, that's not on the cards. Otherwise, it'd be what would be announced, right?
Yeah.
That's the annoyance here. Obviously, and yet. But, if you want to... It's all about the hype machine, isn't it? If people are clamoring for a TV series, then making a movie... And a movie called Star Trek Legacy is a good name for a movie, right? There's an interesting title there. But a series, if you're looking at 10 episodes at $3 million each... I mean, you can make a movie on 15... But but is a return more on movies? Like I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why you would never not release in cinema, because while yes, the cinemas get a cut, like it's just you're making money, right? And the audience make the note. I mean, streaming is like, how did Picard season 3 make money? People subscribed, yes, probably, but such a small percentage.
That's a weird.
No, it's fine. It's Levy. It's fine.
It's a weird analytic though, because in cinema, the amount of money you put into a movie, it has to make a certain amount above that to be considered a success. And a lot of big budget movies either don't break even or barely break even. And that's one thing they would definitely be concerned about. So,
but of course,
I don't know how tight a reins the budget would be on this. Yeah,
because of course, a TV show, who the hell knows what success actually is?
These days, yeah.
I mean, you can get shows with 10 million viewers, and it's like, that's not enough. It's like, what does that mean? This is why. But a TV show has there's such metrics of each. But also, it depends on the marketing, because if you're spending 100 million on marketing, well, that's your choice, right? You would think that. I mean, put it this way, I could make a successful low budget TNG movie with Patrick Stewart that would get a profit. It would not be rocket science, right? For Trekkies to sit down and love it and pay money, especially since I would insist on having, toys, production made things to come out at the same time to galvanize the hype, so you have bonus sales, right? It's not that hard. It's this, obviously, if the studio is looking at huge losses in lots of different ways, you have to really be thinking profit. But yeah,
merchandising is interesting because companies pay you to have the license, so you're making money. They put their resources into building the items and all that, so that I don't think you lose any money in that regard. And I think that's something Paramount actually has not really used to their advantage in this last decade or so, if not more. Just merchandising hasn't been there.
Well, that's interesting you mentioned that, because, yeah, who loses out? Because if there's a, so the Prodigy line, of course, before, let's say they made the Protostar model that we all wanted, the toy one. Let's say it got to like a month from being a release date, and then project's cancelled, or even it comes out and they sell 500. Like, how can the company lose 2 million on sales on lost stock and lost R&D? There must be something in some sort of contract saying we're not, we can't let our business go belly up because your license, which we started doing before it came out, failed. There must be something to ensure that. You would think, otherwise everything's a huge risk. That's why stuff gets pulled, obviously. But
There's something. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Ray Ricks, £5. I fear this may be. You can't have legacy, but here, 9 minutes more of tired Picard. It feels like that might be the case, and I know that people are really pushing for legacy on all fronts, and I don't know if Kurtzman would be up for doing it. Because again, it's like
I feel like he would have announced if he was up for it. It's been a year now.
Yeah, that pettiness of you didn't like what I created, but you love what Terry did. Well, I'm not going to give Terry any more. I think that plays a little bit into it. I don't know how much. So, but going back to the merchandising thing, I don't know if Paramount loses money by having items on the shelves. You would think that would be the manufacturer, because the manufacturer pays for licensing rights. So I'm not sure exactly how that works out and why Paramount wouldn't just try licensing as much as they could, get some income for licensing rights.
Because I'm assuming a licensee, if they have one product launch, say for a Star Wars figure, and it loses them 600,000, the company will say, yeah, we're not doing that again. We will not risk this for your license. And therefore the company, then Paramount loses out, because I'm sure there's something there. It can't be all.
They already got the licensing fee for the year or two that it took. It was just the renewal of the licensing fee that they'd have to worry about.
Well, that
Paramount's really not losing anything.
Well, that implies something odd about the industry, as if they should be. Who wins then? I'm sure there must be some, like, you'd get a percentage of every sale because it's a license to make it. So there must be a loss somewhere, otherwise Paramount wouldn't care, right? Like, really wouldn't care. But success or failure, there must be some complicated stuff there.
Probably. I don't know the legalities of it all, but it's interesting to me to think about. Ray Ricks, though, £2. Look at the creator. $80 million budget and looked great. Yeah, I watched that. It was good for half of it, and then I kind of got bored. But yeah, you don't need a large budget. I mean, the best Star Trek films, 2, 4, and 6, had the lowest budgets because the ones prior to them underperformed. And those are the best movies, generally.
They also had entire standing sets and wardrobe ready to go.
Yes, that's
which
true.
Is, 2 was very cheap in comparison, obviously building costumes, but, and they used one bridge set for 2 ships. I mean, there is a bonus reason why just having what they already had does make a big difference. And not just that, but of course, reusing all the VFX from 1 into 2 saved them several million.
Yeah, that makes me wonder about the Stargazer / Titan / Enterprise bridge. If it's still in existence or if it's been.
No.
I'm sure it's been taken down, but I'm sure they have the pieces. Like, I don't know how hard it would be to reassemble.
I don't know. I feel like it would at least be mostly trashed. Because it's such a big set with so many careful pieces that to store that properly. Because if you half assemble it, you're using space. Like, basically, it's a commitment, isn't it? If you're committing to either save it and spend tens of thousands of dollars maybe on storage space that you can use for other stuff over how many years, or you trash it and use the space for something else and build, what bigger cost? Because there's literally zero plans to make more this Trek. This isn't the era of the Paramount Archives, right? The fact that they had to fight to get Enterprise D properly preserved, fight to get it, shows that they're not interested in preserving sets, right? Not like the olden days.
Which I hope that set's still around. I'm sure they would hold on to that one anyway.
Traveling
circuit, around the
Mr.
country of
Captain.
it. But
I know, right? But so obviously we skipped into the conversation here because, as you said at the start, the news that Patrick Stewart, he was given a script, which we probably shouldn't have talked about, and it's lovely that he can offhandedly say something in a charming way. He was handed a script in the Star Trek universe. Him reprises Picard as the lead or a lead, right? The vaguity of that is interesting, but you've got to wonder how many scripts are actors presented with concepts, right? Because lots of projects, the star is the vehicle, or that name attached is what sells it. Like they wouldn't have scripts for Star Trek Picard season 1 written until Patrick says yes. Like star first, or it's a director who's like, I really want to work with Patrick. I've got these 3 I've got some backers behind CBS, whatever. I want to see what he thinks. If he's passionate, he can help convince them, So I wonder how many scripts he's been sent in the meantime, or if this literally was the first new script of Trek, because it's such a bold thing to say, a Picard script, because it's like, oh, interesting. Somebody's working on it, because anybody can send him anything. But how official was the person sending?
Yeah, it makes me wonder if Terry's worked on a write-up for season 1 of Legacy, and it's a no, and that got whittled down and condensed into a Picard script, using the ideas, which I don't know.
That's the thing, isn't it? They've had TNG season 8, so a movie, either you go it's TNG movie 5, or you go it's Picard season 1. We're going to ignore the rest of the TNG cast and make it about Patrick again, Picard. But he's had such a beautiful end note. They all have. Turns out they work better as a group. Surprise! Yeah. So where is his? And of course, the obvious choice is to kill him at the end of a movie, obviously. And Picard's never done. Oh wait, they did that already. But kill him again. It has to be such a real reason to do it. Or, of course, the more logical option is it is a movie about Seven and the Enterprise G, and Picard helps him with a mission. Do something entirely abstract in that it's actually, because I do not think branding it Star Trek Picard the movie would get the views that they think it would now. I think that has been tarnished by season 1 and 2. If it's Star Trek something starring Patrick Stewart as Admiral Picard, Jerry Ryan as Captain Seven, guy who plays Jack, and these 5, say 3 from Voyager, 3 from DS9, and it's just a story, because you can have an epic story where Patrick is very or links into the Ferengi and the Stargazer, or the original one. You could link. He could be relevant to the past to be brought in. It can still be an epic thing where he's playing that more. Obviously just and a dad role. He played half dad, coming out as a full father character he's never done, like from the get go. That would be fun to see in a movie context. With another arc about growth or his son getting in trouble, has to rescue him again. Kind of a sequel to the.
Well, 71 people here and 35 likes. Hit that like button, guys.
Is that it?
Go vote on the poll.
Goodness.
Well,
it's free.
I know, right?
Click the like button.
Well, maybe this one can not only become a Picard movie, but also the 4th Kelvin film. Maybe Patrick Stewart's on his way to the retirement home, and his shuttle gets pulled through a rift into the Kelvinverse, and he meets his Kelvinverse self, and they go back in time and talk to Chris Pine.
You were making me happy as a fan, and then you ruined it within 5 words. Kelvinverse. That was. I mean, not to say that's not interesting, right? A Kelvin version Picard movie, but also why? Every actor thinks. Oh, I know. I'm just. Every actor thinks, what is their last version of the character? If they play an iconic role, what is their last screen time? Yeah, that's an important metric. What do you do last? It's funny how Shatner's last Kirk might be an Oscars party or Oscars thing like that. That was him officially as Kirk, right? Before that, it was a TV advert where he put back on. He was in Star Trek 6 for a few minutes. That's the last time I played Kirk, right? Chappie, no one wants an old Picard movie. I would be fine to watch it. Depends how you use it. If he's sitting down, he can still be fine. I think no one wants it as a silly comment. There are millions who would. Millions.
Yeah.
Now, I do not want to see how he played it on Xavier in Logan, actually old man Picard, where he's depressed, sad, because that only worked because F it, right? That was an F it movie. Everyone's sad, everyone's depressed, whatever. Great performance, but I didn't enjoy seeing him as that version, that character in any meaningful way. I want to see them as they are in 99% of their lives. So seeing him as actually an old man Picard would not work for me, but seeing him as a man who happens to be old. And as we know, of course, being 98 is not a lot in Trek. I mean, his serving admiral's not an issue, right? I think their bones was like 110 or something. You know,
130 something.
Yeah, like he's so relevant. He's still doing, you know, shakedown cruise sign-offs, but like 5 Enterprises later.
And Dan, we already talked about the Star Trek IV prequel to the 2009 film.
Who cares?
Talked about that before, so
I've so little interest in that, because like they'll make it look more advanced than 09 and more advanced than Kelvin and not give a fuck. Like, it's just an excuse to do different. It's not them trying to make a good Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the question I think a lot of people have, though, is do we need another send-off for Picard? And if you're going to do Picard movie, should you attach all the TNG crew again? Again, like you said, in Picard Season 3, they had the perfect send-off. Doing anything above and beyond that might be problematic because, as you said, it's their last outing and it sucked like, I don't know, Nemesis. It's a sour note to leave on after the beauty that was the end of Picard Season 3. So you're really rolling the dice with this kind of project. Like, it has to be stellar coming out of the gate, right?
And we know that they'll do work if they're contracted. Like, Picard 2 was not good. Picard 1 was not good, at least in both our opinions, overall, right? They accepted to do them, but obviously if they didn't know they were dying until the week before, you can't exactly say no, you know, when they got all this, you know, I'm sure the lawyers would be on them and say, I'm not going to do my death, it's a shit script. Patrick, the lawyer's on the phone, fuck! Guess I'm filming that next week and I have no say, because at the end they're actors, right? They do not have a true stake in the character. They're being paid to say lines they've learned that higher-ups have decided for them. They don't get a say in the characters.
Yeah. Well, New York and Vegas says Leonard Nimoy was the perfect example of an actor who understood the franchise they're in, whereas Patrick Stewart is the perfect example of an actor who should be kept far away from the writer's room. And to that, I disagree somewhat, because I remember interviews with Leonard Nimoy for 2009 and for the later Kelvin films saying, this is great. I mean, people should take their ideas of Star Trek and throw them out the window because this is something new. I'm sorry, but...
Did you see the movie, Leonard? Oh, you didn't see it because you didn't want to watch it. You didn't care. Oh, okay.
Hearing that from Spock just made me just feel like shit, because it's that whole... It's always the hype train, right? They always say, oh, this is the best movie ever when they're on the red carpet.
As if they're being paid to say
leading up to it. Exactly. And then years later it comes out, well, it was kind of shit now, wasn't it? Yep. So, did Leonard Nimoy really... Not to besmirch the man, but...
And this is a direct quote, which is a famous quote that people use against Trekkies all the time, from 09. Canon is... This is Leonard Nimoy. Canon is only important to certain people because they have to cling to their knowledge of the minutia. Open your mind. Be a Star Trek fan and open your mind and say, where does Star Trek want to take me now?
Which, to a certain degree, I agree with, but at the same time, canon is important, and it's not just us clinging to minutia. So yeah, I felt that was a kind of a insult. And
that's a deep misunderstanding. Like you've probably met people in the last couple of decades who've cared about, you know, whatever. I've often thought, just in that vein, make a Trek short where I entirely fuck you to canon. Like, I entirely don't try and connect it. Like, it's just, oh, it's TNG era, but, you know, the Connie comes in and Vija's there. It's like, well, canon's just a structure. It doesn't matter. Of course we had quantums in TOS. What are you talking about? Like, it doesn't matter. It's not, like, and just see how he'll react to the, like, entire disregarding of it. Because some people it doesn't matter, right? And if it doesn't matter, then I can do whatever I want. Oh, look, there's a Borg cube as a space station at orbit of Earth of TOS. Oh, but they haven't met Borg. No, who says they've met Borg yet? Well, there's canon. Canon doesn't matter. It's like, as soon as you start, you know.
Or is it one of the founding members of the Federation, don't you know?
Yeah, I mean, be open to new ideas, Stuart. The Borg are obviously founding members of the Federation 400 years before they were met. Of course they were.
They linked the humans, the Vulcans, the Tellarites, the Andorians all together, so we formed this massive collaboration called the Federation.
And they wear white suits that have red lights. Guys, it doesn't matter. Like, just have fun with it.
And some people are very much on that hill that canon doesn't matter. Like Steve Shives is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter as long as you tell a good story. The good story is very important. Don't get me wrong, but you've got such a rich and such diverse canon history with Star Trek. I understand that it might interfere with some of your problems. And Star Trek in and of itself, in TNG and DS9 and stuff, they did make the occasional little canon tweaks here and there to suit their story a little bit. But overall, they kept true to it. And I think that's what makes them great. So I think canon is important. So that quote from Leonard Nimoy, just answering on New York and Vegas there, kind of makes me wonder, you know, I mean, Picard didn't know he was going to die till like he showed up on set.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks
so
before.
did he know? Yeah, did he know how much of what was going on in the writing room? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's without saying canon, you can't understand stakes, or who does what does where. Without the canon, Shinzon means nothing. Remans mean nothing. Romans mean nothing. Whole movies and structures don't mean anything. The fact they didn't have to invent a time travel method for Star Trek 3 made you think, oh, cool, from TOS, like it was an existing canon thing. But they didn't just go to a space station and say, hey, let's time travel, boys. Hey, we did it. It's like, no, the fact that it's hard is part of the canon, is part of the fun of it. The stakes are important. Yeah, I mean, I've made...
How can there be a good story without continuity? Yeah, good point, Dave.
Like, I've made so many stories now in the Trek Shorts universe where canon is the most important thing. Like, you take a canon beat and like I made an entire documentary called Chaos at the Neutral Zone, which delves into the Romulans and their political vibes, and knowing exactly when that's set entirely informed how the characters feel about it. And because we as the audience know the canon, I was able to lay in sort of future Easter eggs in the sense that if you've seen DS9, you'll get entirely different resonance from the words because they're saying stuff that you're like, oh, that's not what happens. Like enjoyment of the naivety of the people, so you get a bonus fun from it. It's important.
Yeah. Also, the season 1 death was not expected. Guess that's why they unwrote it so fast. That and fan backlash, yeah. I just loved it. He's on the planet dying. Riker comes in, save the day with the whole fleet of the best ship in Starfleet. And yet Riker's like, peace out. I'm not going to be with my friend while he dies. Not that I really know the status because I haven't communicated with them very well. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to head off after these Romulans. The rest of the fleet can't do it without me. It was such a sad thing. Like there should have been a moment with him saying goodbye to Picard, but no.
It's as if he was a last-minute reshoot.
It was just let's do something impactful. Let's kill Picard.
But wait, we got 2 more seasons with him.
That's okay. We can bring him back as a robot. That way he can be like his best friend Data, because they were best friends, y'all. Oh well, yeah. Canon equals continuity. Very, very important for any story. That you have stories without consequences.
And Total Space Chatter. I guess you guys don't like the James Bond film series. It totally mixes up continuity, and yet they're good stories. No single film do you need to watch any other films. They're all standalone with, that might be from that film. They're all original film. Every Bond is a new Bond. Every era is a new era. Every Q is a new Q. Except when they're a bit fun and actually have the 2 Qs for a bit together, but then you don't take anything that haven't, like, nothing in Bond is truly canon and everything's movable because it's not that sort of franchise. They're all standalone fun action films. Obviously the new couple, they kept them going for better or for worse, right? There's some sense of continuity, but each of them is sort of standalone too. Spy action films also, who cares, right? I'm who's dying on the hill of James Bond canon? Like, they're different people, different eras. It's 7 reboots in a go.
Well, and then there's always the Bond is different because the name James Bond and the 007 actor once that person dies, somebody else fills that role and gets the name James Bond with the 007 moniker. So if you're going with just the actor continuity, if that's what you're talking about, but yeah, you don't need them linked together. As Sam said, they're separate individuals up until the Daniel Craig stuff, and then they're trying to make it more cohesive. So they're actually trying to build a canon now. So yeah, it's fine.
And Roger Moore literally visits Theresa's grave. Does he forget about it a few scenes later? What about the next film? What about the next Bond? Like these things, like nothing in Daniel Craig's era is going to matter ever again, except as fun Easter eggs, right? Like they're not. None of it carries over, and even if they're meant to be different people, there's no sense they're different people because they never reference. Do you remember that fifth 007 ago? Oh, that was my fifth predecessor's car. It's like, no, just, oh, look, a car. You know, you don't expect that from Bond. Like, I wouldn't have gone into the last Daniel Craig film and cared what happened in Casino Royale. Does he mention his first love? I don't give a shit. Like, he wasn't very Bond in that film for me. That's one of those, one of the worst Bond films. It's not Bond film. It's an action film with Bond in it, right? Man called Bond. They're all standalone. You appreciate the references, how I approach them, and I wouldn't even care if they actively retconned he had a brother, because guess what? In 20 years, that version of Bond won't have a brother. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and David Laura said James Bond wife. Yeah, Lazenby, like the first James Bond is actually, I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, Dad loves it.
Yeah, I think he's a good Bond. I wish he had more time, but yeah, got married, his wife died. Oh well.
Did Pierce Brosnan have a wife? I mean, was that Pierce Brosnan's? No, of course not. Who cares? And also there's stuff in early films. It's like, wow, we have a rocket to Earth's atmosphere, and then now there's a space laser that attacks a giant, we've got invisible cars. Like, again, they're not intending to be except a bit of fun.
Yeah. 83 of you here, 48 likes. I want to get to at least you guys, so hit that like button if you're just joining us. Super chat in with your thoughts or feelings about this Picard movie, any ideas you have that would work for a script, or whether you want the TNG cast to return. Let us know. Super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts.
And any other franchise that you wouldn't care if the next version just didn't have canon? Like
perfect example, the Transformers. There's so many different Transformers shows, and they basically all reboot them each time. So there's multiple different Transformers universes. It doesn't really bother me that much, because they handle it. They don't. It's not that they don't care, but each show is its own thing. It's got a different history for Cybertron and stuff like that. It's fine. Perfect example is Transformers. Every show is different, except for Beast Wars, which tied into G1. Like they do try to do it occasionally, and sometimes they hit the nail on the head. Other times they don't care. And it's funny, the ones that they don't care, I don't watch or enjoy because I'm in it for the continuity. That's why when Beast Wars first came out, I didn't give a shit. I'm like, this is the perfect example to tie into G1, have like really cool. But no, you're on primitive Earth with like, them turning into animals. I don't care. And then they tied it into G1, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh. And so Beast Wars is now one of my favorite Transformers because of that tie-in. So I think, to me, people like me, canon is important, but I don't watch Robots in Disguise. I don't watch any of the other ones really because it doesn't matter to me. There's a few good ones that are well written, like Prime, which are really good, and I try to tie into G1 a little bit. But anyway, there you go. Sorry.
Well, and it's funny, like Red Dwarf is a show that was going from the 80s to the 20s, so the pandemic, and I think List has Appendix out 6 times because they didn't check their previous scripts and whatever. Like there is a consistent canon in the overall, but they get lots of things continuously wrong in that little meta stupid level that it doesn't matter if they make another appendix joke, because that doesn't really matter in the real grand scheme. Or the fact that Red Dwarf changes 4 times the design between iterations, like that's not the canon is not. It's both is and isn't important in equal ways. Like you appreciate when they use it, but you're not linked to it directly. Although you wouldn't want the cat to suddenly have a twin sister that shows up played by his wife. Like that'd be weird. Like there's obviously the grander things, but the minutia doesn't matter so much, and jokes can work better if they ignore a show from 27 years ago because of comedy, and like, so structurally that one's a funny one where it's built fast and loose, fast. Or something like Galaxy Quest, right? If they do a Galaxy Quest TV show, if that gets made, like, do you need them to have the Thermians all be that they mention in the first movie or the movie that the Thermians' home planet's been destroyed and the starbase, they're the last of their race? Would you care if they retconned that out and said, apart from the second home planet, like, that's a breaking of canon, like, but also it would entirely be a fun reset. Like, that's a giant note, but like also meh, you know.
Well, that's the thing with Star Trek, though. Ever since TNG, they've tried to link to TOS. They've tried to maintain a canon. The only time they kind of stumbled and screwed a little bit with it was Enterprise. But even then, they tried to make things fit, too. So the canon's always been important to Star Trek, like in that golden age of Star Trek. This new era, it's like, it doesn't really matter. We want to give shows for everybody and movies for everybody. If you don't like one, you maybe like the other one. Is that a problem? Yes, but I don't know. It's just you're dealing with a franchise that had people working behind the scenes to try to maintain that continuity in canon, and now it's just like we don't care.
Well, this is why just taking a fresh, as in, which happens to be a really fun story for idea for a story, and then Patrick Stewart's Picard has a reason to be there, along with another cast, crew, whatever. Like, he doesn't need to be the lead, right? Loads of movies where there's joint leads or someone only is in the first third and the last third and the action bit in the middle. You know, it's not the end of the world. Just having them there be meaningful. You know, how many hours of TNG was he sitting in either his main chair or his briefing room chair or his crew quarters chair or his ready room chair? Like, Picard can sit in a chair for the entire movie except maybe a handshake scene, right? And that's okay. You know? He can still be fully meaningfully Picard and yet be stuck in a chair because he can't walk that well. That's A-okay, you know?
When they went big budget movie, they wanted to make him an action star, and that's not Picard. It was never Picard. From the beginning of TNG, it was never Picard. He was never going down for away missions because of Riker. He was always... Well, not always. There's the odd time where he had some action going on in TNG, but that was not his character. And they tried to change that for the movies, and I don't feel it really worked. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with him not being actiony if they do a new movie. People around him can be actiony. That's just the way that TNG always was.
Well, he's Shakespearean. So, he talks in verse.
Yeah.
He's a speech man for a reason. You know, like some of his best scenes are looking across the room and talking to Beverly, or looking at Beverly, or talking to Jack, or Riker. Those. It's not him saying fire.
Yeah.
You know, that's okay.
And Tristan Goodfellow brings up a very good point. Why work on a franchise if you're only going to piss off your fan base? Exactly. Fan base, solid. Build on that. Don't.
But also, you know that you're not going to hire an 83-year-old to make a movie for new fans, new people. He's not. Most people aren't, like, average people aren't going to be attracted to. That's a very, very old man, very old bald man, right? That's why you hire new people who are young and fresh, because it appeals to more general people. You know, while I don't look for representation in anything particularly, I could watch anything from anybody and be fine, right? Like, I could watch a Japanese anime and they're all speaking Japanese and enjoy it. Nothing there's for me. Doesn't matter to me. But lots of young people want to see younger people because they associate in a way. This is, Patrick, it doesn't matter how good an actor he is, does not appeal, right? And that's fine. But if you're going for Trek fans, give it a modest budget, and get all the people, and get awards and accolades, and just make a good story, you know.
Yeah. Subspace Chatter says that was Patrick Stewart who wanted Picard to become an action hero. Yeah, I get that. And if I was going from a TV show to a big budget movie, I might say the same thing. Like, I want to be an action star for at least one of them. Don't know if it needs to carry on for every one of the iterations of the movies, though. But it would be fun to try something new.
And Subspace Chatter also says, it seems like other franchises like Doctor Who and Star Wars have canons that are more inclusive of novels. Well, yes and no. There's been hundreds of Doctor Who novels and audiobooks, and they do everything under the sun. The Doctors meet each other and all weird stuff, and there's so many things they just... On general, you ignore everything in a book. Star Wars, they had an entire novel continuity, which was 30 years in the making. And as soon as they took over they scrapped absolutely everything until their stuff, and been slowly picking and choosing stuff from the novels back in. And then if they license a novel, it's canon, unless obviously the director says no. Because if there's a reference in any novel of the newer canon, where they said the Death Star 2 was not on a planet or Endor's moon. Oh wait, there is. At the end of the day, the movies always supersede, because how many directors who are excited to work on a project want to be told by a very, very good intern, I'm sorry, Dan. In a book from 1964, a lady named Lucy said that the Vulcans don't have 3 appendixes, so you can't tell your story. Shit! Okay, I'm out! Like, they'll say, how many people have even read that? Like, they can't use that, even though it might be fun, because then you'd actually have to read everything. And then, every comic strip, they just had fun. Because, what if it's a children's Star Trek book aimed for, and they just do weird stuff, or a serious one, or an adult one, or if it's a horror, or if it's crossover with Alien, and suddenly Klingons are massacring people because it looks good, and, versus on screen, that's where the broad people watch. That's, unfortunately, that is the medium, and everything else around it. That's why it's funny, there was the new Doctor Who series, the 3 specials, David Tennant, and they had a character in it from a 1970s comic. I didn't Google that comic, so the story played out as it did, and I was surprised by elements of it. But they were the same as the comic strip it was based on. So if you were one that knew it, you were just watching it play out. If you didn't, it was twist and turning. And I'm a fan that knows some things about Doctor Who, and yet didn't even think to look and see what's happening, because I didn't want to be spoiled, but the fact I didn't know, entirely different experience,
Yeah, the same thing extends to Transformers. As I said, the comics were completely different, their own universe in and of itself, even back in the day. So, yeah.
But of course, like Una, the word Una came from a comic, or came from a book, sorry, and that was incorporated. So that was good for them. Pulling stuff is awesome.
John?
Dan Ben, Vulcan has no moon. TMP, and we see the moon. Multiple moons, actually. Yeah.
And that's the joke. It's canon for both. Now you pick and choose, unfortunately. Although, Stuart, can I just give you a funny little metric? Our short just doubled in views while I've been live.
Nice, yeah. Shorts. We've got some shorts coming up from that till at least February 23rd. And then we'll probably have more for after that. But we want you guys to watch them and pass them on, share them with everybody, and hopefully you enjoy them. They're basically breakdowns of some of our interviews with some famous designers. So little bite-sized segments of information.
As you guys may or may not know, the short format kicked off with Vine, and then TikTok, and then Instagram, and then YouTube, etc. They're very, very watchable, sub 1 minute videos. And I have gone ahead and I've really wonderfully dissected, it's fair to say, us from all of our content. As in, this is pure designer. You hear the occasional murmur or laugh, but it's pretty few and far between. Like, stuff you've forgotten about, very bite-sized, very focused, very on point, very watchable. Yeah, spread the word, share them. They're a really good little resource. Just watch them and seeing. Just all of them have facts. You didn't are genuine facts. They're really interesting.
And if you're new to the channel, go back and check out our backlog of content. We started out doing interviews with the designers, and we still do that kind of stuff, but we've branched out quite a bit. So if you're newer and just found us in some of the other things we've done, go check out our back catalog. There's a lot there to enjoy. So
yeah, and while we know that the shorts aren't going to generate us stuff to help the channel literally, we hope they'll bring new audience in that'll help us grow organically. So help us out by spreading the word of that in itself, spreading the word.
Yeah, share the shorts. 71 of you here, which is great. 63 likes. It's also great, but I want to do better. Let's get to 75 likes. Hit that like button if you're just joining us, or you haven't hit it yet. Why not? Fleet Paw throws in $2. Never fear, Fleet Paw is here. Smack the like, folks.
Oh.
One of our best moderators has arrived, so watch out. He'll take you out if you're causing problems.
Yes, and this is why I like. This is why I like using canon in my Trek shorts, trying to find avenues you haven't looked at before, or political situations, or the knowledge internally of a tech, You know, it becomes shorthand. You don't have to explain what a Klingon bird of prey can do to be to get the vibe by showing it, right? So having Picard be brought back in to, let's say there's a new, the booby trap. What was that race called? The thingy warship. He was very.
Oh, the Temerians.
Yeah.
No, not Temerians. No. Not Temerians. I can't remember.
Those
Battleship.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys. Like, you could have a movie just like that. Another one of those have been found. Picard's been asked to advise because he's a big fan. They turn up and then it's a trap laid by an alien race that hates Picard. Because that wasn't Picard season 3 episode 1, 2, 3. They weren't after Picard. That was a side effect after Jack. So that actually hasn't been done yet technically, but whatever. Like, that's all you have to do to bring him to the story, right? All you have to do to make his knowledge meaningful, and then Bosch they're on a ship doing a thing. That's it. It could be Enterprise, could not be an Enterprise. Obviously, if they were very, very smart, Promillion. Yeah, good job, Promillion.
Promillion battlecruiser, yeah.
You know, if
I was just looking it up.
You know, if they're very smart, of course, you would bring in Janeway and Picard. But obviously each captain's going to charge the most, as they're able to. You know, have it be the triple whammy, you know, quadruple whammy.
Yes, Dan, that's correct. Sometimes they say a deck number and it's wrong. Perfect example is First Contact. But does the ship have 26 decks, or how many decks does this thing have?
And either way, it has a giant chasm below the ship.
See, that's why we like to point out the good and bad in all Star Trek, because none of it's perfect. So you think we rag on the new stuff, but we also rag on the old stuff, and they make mistakes like that.
But also, having made 14 shorts, something always goes through. And you know I'm very bad at spelling. I don't see that stuff. It just doesn't register my brain. So stuff gets through because I just don't, you know, I'll notice a lack of a shield impact if I won't see a spelling or something. Or as a line of dialogue, like, you know, a film can go from script to filming to actors on stage and say, well, that line was not what was meant to be said. I think what was in Temporal Anomaly, my first film, the film had already been, I was doing press release screenings for, like, we knew famous Trek people, so I sent some famous Trek people at the time, and it got through 6 years of editing, 4 remasters, screened by including yourself, including loads of people, right? It took Larry Nemeczek to watch it and say, this thing's that's not how you should say that, so I had to cut the line. After that many years and that many people had seen it, because that's just, you know, and I'm me, right? And I did research. I still made an easy script mistake at the time that made it through to the final, you know?
Yeah. And Super Coop says, just got a notification for this live after I've been watching for 50 minutes. Isn't YouTube awesome?
Welcome.
So everybody watching, make sure you're subscribed, because they tend to unsubscribe people from channels as well. So make sure you're subscribed. Just a reminder. And hit that like button. We're almost at 75 likes.
Tristan. Yeah, I think they say they're actually on, like, deck 26. They're meant to be right at the... It's very strange. I think they're, like, 3 up from the bottom. I think if you...
Yeah, it's contradicted, like, a few minutes later.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Picard tells Lily how many decks are on the ship, and then...
No, Nemesis is the chasm he's mentioning.
Oh.
Like, they do say where they're attacked, and it's right at the bottom. It's not meant to be, like, the middle. It's meant to be, like, right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom, but it's hard to justify giant chasm. You can't see the bottom. Like, decks aren't that tall. I mean, it'd have to be like 10, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1 decks. Like I say, Picard as a character is a super interesting character. He portrays gravitas still, and tone, and humanity, and emotion, and the seeing him as a father is super refreshing. Seeing him be a proud little duck, you know, is adorable. He can play a whole range. He's not an action hero. He shouldn't be an action hero. He shouldn't even be necessarily a captain in an action scene. He's past that, right? He's into the senior ambassadorial, like you wouldn't want to see Nimoy as Ambassador Spock, TOS, go around planets doing nerve pinches. Like, that wouldn't feel right? He's in that post-action vibe. Now, of course, is it enough to see Picard on a view screen a la Nemesis, a la Janeway? Hello, Jean-Luc. This is my cameo. It's like seeing Picard give the mission at the start, for me, would not be enough. That feels like they filmed, or like Nimoy in the darkness. Like, oh look, there's goodbye. Like it's not enough of an impression, right? You shouldn't leave with a whimper. Luckily, Mulgrew got another time to really kick ass in Prodigy after Nemesis. She didn't. She had another stay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never looked at the doors on the decks. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of production mistakes like that all throughout.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily going to change stickers between shots if they've got to film on the next day. Those things are always spurious at best. Oh dear. Oh, Stuart's power might have gone out. He had doth warn us of this. So his intent may have gone. But what do you guys think? Would you want... Mad says, so what if the movie... yeah, well, exactly. What if the movie's called Picard, but it's Jack... Well, it'd be... Yeah, Jack Picard. Jack Crusher Picard, etc. Yeah, I wouldn't call the movie Star Trek Picard because that'd be confusing for the show, of course. I would hope it was something else. But yeah, certainly the Picard lineage. That's why Picard Season 3 makes more sense now, because it's the Picard lineage. Picard isn't particularly complex or multi-layered. He's inspirational. He's no Walter White. I mean, define complex, right? He's you watch his layers of performance. He's certainly complex. It's my other camera, as I believe. So its internet probably died. Way. Wahahaha. I get to be up here now. Wahahaha. There's a reversed Skype window. Oh wow, Sausage Chatter. I enjoyed Nemesis more than the end of Picard, so I'm hopeful of the Picard movie. Really? What was about the Nemesis enjoy more? I think Nemesis works better now because you've got a post-Nemesis ending. It's only, it's sad to see the death of a character. It's always sad. If they've done something recent in a comic, they can do. Not sure if it's been said, but I would want Patrick Stewart to have a minimum involvement of the plot based on. Yes, of course. He's not a scriptwriter. He's a thespian. Ah, yes, I understand what you mean. Ray. Yeah, I mean, most people are going through their day, right? It's the gravitas of the performance that I'm just some guy, Yes, we've taken out Foley. But let's know in the chat right now, would you, okay, yes or no? Straight into yes or no. Would you be, so he's in no chat. Would you be fine, yes or no, for Patrick Stewart to have less than 20 minutes of screen time in a 90-minute movie? We don't know how that could be as well, but would that be too little? I don't know. Because I you can do a lot in 20 minutes. I'm very quite well. Maybe link with. I am. Well, yeah. Okay, there you go. Boost myself by 30%. No. Yes. 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 No. Yes. No. Yeah, Pegasus. Yeah, for Enterprise. Yes. Noblesse action. Yes. Ability. Ooh, do you think Patrick would do it if Frakes directed? Now that's an interesting choice. Give Frakes the directorial chair, would be super interesting. Mm. Mm. Yeah, indeed, Jamie. Like I was giving a pure example of like he's clearing up the lead with 20 minutes of screen time, but it depends. You either meter it throughout the film in little segments. You can film a very meaningful bridge sequence. He's only in it for 1 minute, right? On the bridge, or you could have him be at the start and the end, etc. Because I feel like actors want to act and also get paid, but he's not exactly itching, for money. If he's offered to come back and undo his ending, as it were, but he gets to work with Jonathan Frakes as director, that instantly gives him a stronger chance of saying yes, and work with his now son and baby mama. The concept of those few things would give him enough of a different slant to give Picard another slant. You don't need to be in it radically to make that meaningful to him as an actor, versus where Logan coming back just for the sake of the performance of wow, that was so big. I'm wondering if his time in Multiverse of Madness was more of a paycheck, because he's there, he says words, don't need the film with him, it's cool to see him, but it feels more like a glorified big cameo. That it was the same again, right? That feels more like that was, oh, if I get paid $500,000, sure, and yeah, minutes wise, wasn't it very much at all. Yes, give Jeremy a movie for sure. And Thinking Cat will address both super chats when Stuart returns, because he is the super chat man. Yeah, how long was Kirk in Generations? I don't know. I really don't know. It's a really, really good question. Let me just kill my camera because it needs you. Oh, there you go, Space.
I'm back. Told you the power might go out, and it was out for a while this time.
So you were in the dark then, I take it?
Yeah, I went upstairs and let the dogs out and stuff.
Also weird suddenly be like,
then
oh,
it came back on.
Like your man cave becomes a big dark room. The phone lights come out.
Yeah.
And then the router's got to spool up and...
Did you get the super chats that came in?
Nope, because you are Mr. Super Chat.
The Thinking Cat, aka Neo Normie, puts in £5. Wasn't there a very weird collection of decks in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, with the jet boot scene? Yes. Up to deck 75. That's not how decks are numbered, first of all. And it doesn't go from the bottom to the top, it goes from top to the bottom. Anyway, whatever. Yes, mistakes happen.
It's an epitome as if they said, how can we make it as wrong as possible? It's fascinating, to say the least.
The Thinking Cat also throws in £2 and says, how long did Kirk have in Generations? How long did Kirk have? Or how long was he in the Nexus?
Yeah. I don't think he was in it. The screen time I was about is 20 minutes. Is 20 minutes enough of screen time? Was what I was arguing. How you use it. Of course, Kirk is in the first 15 minutes. At the end, near the end, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think
there's not in it that much.
Yeah, but I think if there was a Picard movie where he was in it that amount of time, it would be perfect for me. You don't need it all with him necessarily, and it's more than a cameo as well. So,
but I just wouldn't want him just to be at the start and at the end as a touchstone. That feels too. Look, he's behind a desk. But 20 minutes is still a fair amount of time, because you can cut to the bridge and cut to a 35-second meaningful line or 2 lines of Picard, then back to the action. He could be on the ship in orbit of the planet they're on, giving orders on the bridge, and cut to the bridge every 6 minutes, and he gives a minute of dialogue, and that could be a 3-day shoot. But you could feel as if he's in the film the entire time. Maybe. And I will say about if Jonathan Frakes was directing it, that'd be a big thing. I think that would certainly allow him to do less in the film, to have his friend direct it, right? But I can imagine if you have almost a joke, if Riker's in it as well, because why wouldn't you, right? No, Picard, we insist you stay on the bridge, like the old days. Let us do the away team. You know, you can always have the away mission.
With the emphasis on old.
Oh, it'd be so funny to be like, no, John Luca, too old to go on the away team. Will, you're 80. Young. 75-year-old actors like action sequencing down the planet. Like, you're very old. This is an odd thing to do with that level of age. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what this entails or what it holds, but I don't know how excited I am for it, if I am at all, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, as we stated very early on in this live. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to just finish with the poll so I can start a new one as well. If that's all right, just end that summarization. 153 votes.
I was just going to say. Yeah.
Go for it, Stuart.
Oh, end the poll. It's fine. Or don't. Okay.
Oh, so I thought you were saying if you
end the poll.
The years. I'm just looking at a thing.
153 votes. Do you want to see a Picard movie? Well, the resounding winner. Well, it's not really resounding, but 46% say yes, but only with Terry Matalas. And it's interesting because yes and no, or nah, are basically tied. Yes has 26% and no has 27%. Interesting.
Although, of course, as an overall stat, that still takes the yeses at 73%, which is basically everyone, right? That's the outliers. Yeah. So let me check up another one as well.
So guys, we have 83 likes, which is awesome. We hit that 80 goal. Can we get to 100? If you're just joining us and haven't hit that like button, now's the chance to do it. We only need 17 more. I think we could probably get there, and 100 likes is really good. So hit the like button if you're able to. But as I was saying, to finish my thought there, as we said at the beginning of this live, we've already got the perfect send-off for not only Picard, but all the TNG cast. So in my mind, making another Picard movie to just continue that on and just kick the can further down the road, as far as we're going to just keep making stuff we can't, could be a bad idea, because as we know, the last didn't really end on a bang. It wasn't a good send-off for anybody. Terry fixed that with Picard season 3. Do we want to ruin it again, or have they got chance that we may ruin it with another Picard movie? No, is my answer, honestly. So that's just my thoughts.
But you say that, but obviously you know, they will not live forever, and the nuance of their performance will go with them, right? Like, no offense to Paul Wesley, he has not got the nuance that Shatner gives. So any version of seeing Carol and that actor together, I will not get the same vibe as Star Trek 2. It just won't, right? You're not going to try and... It's different. It is what it is, right? So if you ever want to see and feel what Patrick Stewart Picard working with his son feels like, this is the chance, right? Like...
Yeah.
Like that this is the chance, right, before they get too old. So that, I would very much like to see him with Jack more. I'd very much like to see him and Data, this new Data, how they'd interact, be able to go above into the more friend version. I would love to see him and Riker again as a double act. They were wonderful as equals and yet not. That was a great relationship rapport. Him and Beverly, you know, being reunited and being able to work together or something. Like, those are all relationships I would like to see more of actively deal with a new situation, you know, that isn't quite as dark and dire. Yeah. By dark and dire, I mean Eternal Light Switch.
Now, would you have any good ideas for what you'd like to see in a new Picard film? Like, is there something that would be very Picard-centric that...
Possibly, and I will think about
can't
that.
Imagine.
I think I just go for 1 second. I'll think about that while I'll be doing something for a few seconds.
Okay. Hopefully my power doesn't go out while he's gone. Yeah, because I don't know what I would want to do if I had to do a Picard movie, honestly. Because I'd want Picard to be involved. I'd want him to not be old and frail. But I also don't want to him pretending that he's an action hero either. So it's kind of a tough one for me. Fleetpaw, our moderator, who's been a member for 45 months at the rank of commander, said, I'd like to send off for everyone we got in Picard Season 3. I think that any movie featuring Picard should be mostly new people with a smattering of essential Picard scenes, with more Golem Data getting to know everyone again. Golem Data or like new data? Like new data. I want to see more of the new data. That's a good point, actually. More Geordie LaForge, yeah. Futuristic Indiana Jones type movie. Oh, for a Picard movie? I don't know what to say about that. But hasn't Prodigy proven you can use an actor's voice as Janeway on the show? Is one of my favorite things about it, and it's like season 8 of Voyager. Yeah, Prodigy has shown that, but you know, Kate Mulgrew is nowhere near as old as Patrick Stewart is.
No. So I had a thought while I was doing whatever I was doing.
Do you want to bring back Patrick Stewart back? It's like a... Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, jump in first. That's fine.
Do you want to have Patrick Stewart back as the emergency admiral hologram? Just there offering advice? I don't know.
Or emergency diplomat hologram. Just for the lols.
Emergency diplomatic hologram. That's great.
No, I had a thought while I was doing whatever I was doing. I could pick. So this would be more of a meta sequel because, you know, you got to think what there currently is. Picture this. He's on a ship. Reuse sets. Cool. Doing a thing. He's helping someone do something. Doesn't matter. And he's in his crew quarters. And Elnor stops by. What? So we reference Picard season 1, and Elnor has asked him to go to Romulan space with him, and he's like, "Trust me, Jean-Luc." Okay, Elnor, you're like the other son I never had, but I now have a son, so it's fine. Turns out, Sealer
or wanted.
Turns out Sealer, which is Denise Crosby finally back into the fold, wants Picard to go to Romulus. Which links into the whole, you know, we actually finally end the refugee stuff, that whole plot that was abandoned heavily, and we finished that plot line, which is, you know, there. Maybe we even fix continuity with the red, you know, the destruction of Romulus, like that. You know, fix that, because that's a Nemesis plot hole, right? Anno 9. And then maybe we go to Romulus, which is kind of cool, so we have a Nemesis payoff there. And guess who's there? But some prick in the Romulan Senate or whatever has made another clone of Picard, and it's James McAvoy. To kind of give fans that fun. He's not evil, no twist at all, but it's like we're making fun of Nemesis in a gentle way. It's like, another clone?
McAvoy or Tom Hardy? Who do you mean?
No, James McAvoy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he plays obviously him in the X-Men films, and he's a more well-rounded actor than Tom Hardy, who's much more gruff, right? And he's much bigger nowadays. So you have that fan love, and he's just there as a reason to get into Romulus, etc. And then something else happens with that, and so you have, you know, maybe you have some flashbacks to young Picard with James McAvoy playing Picard in the Wrath of Khan uniform, meeting Beverly for the first time. That's important in some way. So you kind of, you know, pull elements of Picard's life in that you haven't got to see before that you get to have. As a way of finishing off season 1 plot line, Nemesis referencing McAvoy, a bit of fun. You could have fun with that. And I'd like, it'd be fun to see Sealer, because there's such a Romulan outstanding thing of his life. And you can get Raffi in, you can get the Verity in theory, if those are even meaningful. You know, what do you think?
I kind of like it. I kind of like tying in Picard. There were some good characters that didn't get enough time necessarily. So yeah, I think that's kind of a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't expect Elnor to show up in his ready room.
No.
And maybe he's flying on a Sovereign. So you start the movie with an Enterprise E looking ship at warp. As you pan up to registry, it's like the USS Exquisite. It's like, oh, it's not the E. That's weird. Cut to just obviously a rebuilt small segment of his ready room from whatever. So you start with an unexpected sight, Eleanor comes in, etc., etc. So you kind of play with expectations a bit. But I think CeeLo would be a really good foil as a villain, because it's established canon. You do whatever the hell you want with her, because she's so unexplored. And you kind of make fun of Nemesis in a gentle way, like that was us trying one way. This is us taking that and turns it head, so that like this clone of Picard is actually a good clone, no issue. You know, that and you assume something bad's gonna happen, but nothing does. Presumably, you tie in a Voyager character in some meaningful. Maybe they bring the EMH to help with the clone. Maybe he meets them en route. You know, like you can organically pull in some people from other things into that story about whatever, or maybe you know, or even you want to go full on. You go. Picard's dying again for aromatic syndrome, and the clone is a happenstance of saving him. There's ways you could do that if you want to, even it playing to the fact that he's dying again, and then save him again. These are kind of meta jokes inside jokes, but I think the audience would have fun with seeing expectations played with in a way that you're like, oh, we're doing this again. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Everything's fine by the end. But really, it's about giving Denise and him a chance to kind of work. I think it'd be really fun.
Well, as Michael Dyer says, there's a hanging thread with the Gerati Borg, or the Borg Cooperative, as I call it, after season 2, guarding against something.
Although Montgomery mentions Q, I mean, if you want to end on a true note, end with him back in the court. End the Picard story in the courtroom with Q. Oh, can you imagine if the final scene of Picard as Patrick Stewart is that he sends him back to Farpoint, and he makes him like re-experience his life in like a split second, and we see like a clip show, but like he's de-aged a bit. How surreal would that be? Because then you rebuild the D bridge, so you have him on Enterprise D back in Farpoint. You refilm Farpoint again, like a scene from Farpoint. Like we're gonna make you 2045 again. Because that would be a good way to have Enterprise D back as well. Oh yeah, what if old man Picard walks around Farpoint on the Enterprise D sets at the same time as young Picard walking around, obviously de-aged or deep fake, whatever. That'd be fun. Go back to the first episode, as shitty as it is. Huh. I'd do that.
Sure. Maybe this whole thing is a test from Q to see if Picard is worthy of becoming a Q. Like, you wanted to make Riker a Q at one point. So at the end, you get Picard turned into a Q and he snaps and he's young. And peace out.
Well, I'd probably have
Cisco and Celestial Temple.
But I have the joke that he declines peacefully, and Q's like, "God damn it, I'm trying to save you." Like that would be the joke, right? But he says no to being a Q. Dying is part of the experience, Q. You did learn that once, then you forgot it again. And
Q could just say, "You've already died, Jean-Luc. You've done that. You've been there."
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next part.
No, that's funny. Yeah.
The Thinking Cat though throws in 5 pounds. I'd go for an episode sequel like Wrath of Khan, like Devil's Due, or Moriarty takes over a hologram network demanding holography, hologram equality.
Moriarty's good because he instantly would be a draw, quality-wise. He looked great. We've seen him in Picard season 3, obviously. But he's a Data villain, not a Picard villain. Picard didn't do much. Holmes. He wasn't a Holmes guy, but in fairness, if you go Moriarty's the big bad for whatever, or I say bad as an antagonist, that'd be the reason to get Data in, because then you have Data, and then Data could meet Moriarty, new Data, new Moriarty. That would be very satisfying. That would be a fun. Then it becomes a Data movie, but Brent's it's fine. Brent's very good as Data, so it's no problem there.
Yeah, Fleet Path throws in $2. The trial never ended, mon Capitan. Yeah,
because that would be a, or even if you want to go very meta with it, really meta, you have the end scene be Tapestry. So now you go back into that scene, you de-age them both. I guess it's brief, right? It's a quick scene, and it's like, and that was one possible future. Which road are you gonna take? You know what, Q? I'll take that road. Okay, click, done.
That's interesting.
Like, you got to watch everything, the good and the bad, and you choose it still. So it's kind of a, because it was kind of
good.
Because there was like a meta. Yeah, because it was fun to see Frakes in TNG again in Enterprise, even if it was silly. Like, it was still satisfying,
Or Q could just snap him back in time to his inner light life before the planet got destroyed.
Well, he looks the right age. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, if half the movie was a flashback to inner light, he doesn't have to do any makeup. God damn it! 40 years ago, I had to have makeup for this. You say you look that old? Yes, you look that old. No, I have to de-age you a bit. You look too old, Patrick. Damn it!
Oh man.
But it would be. You can just imagine the scene of Picard, or even if you go really silly with it, right? Which would be fun, right? Season 3 was not very silly. You have the Elnor, you have the Sealer, you have the clone, that's the first 30 minutes, right? Non-stop, canon-loving, big political drama. You're gonna the LED wall, Romulan Senate. You're there, and then the plot stops. Q flashes in, says, "You really thought this was happening, Q? I thought this was too silly," because then they would explain why there's another clone. That'd be a funny twist, wouldn't it? It's like essentially a Q story, and then Q takes him back into TNG. You rebuild it for D6 again. You get to enjoy that moment, and like I say, bring him into an episode. That'd be so fun, Or even, can you imagine? What if it is actually an All Good Things sequel? Turns out he was always there during All Good Things. What if the Deveron system, the anomaly, is there again? There's gonna be a fourth secret Picard, a second old Picard. So then you go back and do All Good Things for and again. Now with the USS, you could have some real meta fun with it, knowing there's just a Q bullshit to try and teach them. I mean, you could have so much fun with that. And you imagine after the really poignant "you're dying" Q to the "God damn it, Q! We've had this conversation 4 times. Stop dying on me. I'm immortal. I don't die. Oh yes, stop. That would be fun. I think you do a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. That sounds very fan fiction-y and book-like, but yes.
Yes.
I think it would work. I really do. It's got to be something like that to be good, I think.
So you've done the dark and serious,
Well, exactly.
It's what else can you do that's yeah.
I don't know. And Dan Ban asked earlier for him, and again, I don't know. I would assume doesn't have any hand in it necessarily, but who knows? Well, guys, we're at 90 likes, 72 people here. I want to get another 10 likes if possible to get to 100. Go vote in the poll, do all the things. But any suggestions now? Hearing Sam's awesome ideas. Any ideas you have for a script for this movie? Let us know. We want to hear about it. Patrick Stewart says the script was him in mind. Well, yeah, I was going to write it with him in mind, but.
I can write less or more fan love. Because you can go with entirely abstract, right? Or you can go with entirely lore loving, or you can go, it's all, up to the audience. Because every element you bring in will get in more fans to turn up, right? You have all this positive whatever. Especially if you somehow able to keep the secrets of who's in it.
Yeah.
So suddenly having, Janeway show up without any fanfare is like, oh wow, you're here too? Cool.
Then half Picard had a moopsie. The end. Thanks, Phoenix Gundam. Oopsie. Does Moopsie like old bones, though? I don't know. All right, 5 likes away from 100, guys. Hit that like button, please. 5 of you, if you haven't. Yeah. I don't know. So this whole thing, I don't know if it's a good where they are, honestly. Again, I think this might be a publicity stunt to kind of cover for, just to keep Star Trek in the public eye, if you will, and hopefully put some pressure on people to get Legacy done. I don't know if this was Legacy's now absolutely not going to happen, and they've reworked some of the ideas into a Picard script that it might happen. I don't know.
Well, that's only if Terry's involved, because he is the man with the ideas for Legacy, right? Everything else would not be. Because every idea is under the sun's possible. I just think this is Patrick just wasn't meant to say. I can't imagine. He's not the sort of guy to be told to leak, like, you know, he's too genuine for that. I think it's very much a case of he was pleased that someone was thinking of him, that maybe this is, you can never count on a project happening until you're on the set, right? That anything can happen at any point, a la Star Trek 4, that they're constantly undone. I mean, how many times has the actor's been said, right, you're going to be filming in 6 months, start booking the time, wait, cancelled. But
look at the Nicolas Cage Superman movie. I mean, they had the costume done, they were leading up to production, got almost there, and boom, nope, not going to happen.
Yeah, or even Back to the Future 1, recasting the lead, 3 months in, or however many months. Badoo, gone. But I can't imagine he was sent, because that's the thing, Patrick, either it was sent by a friend, like Terry doesn't have to go through Patrick's agent send him anything, right? Neither Jonathan, so if someone knew somebody, but to go past the agent stage is quite a big deal. If the agent sent it to you, then it's a real script with a real proposition, at least to see interest, right? They value it's worth it, because I'm sure agents get stuff all the time from prospective people, and they just say no, right? In fact, they got to Patrick, either says it's from a person who he trusts and likes a lot to accept and hopefully read it, or it's from his agent, which means it has some meaning behind it as an intent. Would you say yes to this? Okay, then we can move forward. So the fact that he said it obviously was this is worth talking about. But he's had his lead time,
Yeah.
Be as a side as okay.
Fleet Paw throws in $5. A Q morality tale. Picard has to choose between sacrificing himself or Jack to save the galaxy. It's a test to see if Picard can replace Delancey's Q.
Well, they already had all of that though, because he chose himself. He sacrificed himself for his son with the Queen.
Yeah.
And Q's already dying in season 2, so that all that's the problem with all these things. They've jumped so many sharks.
Barry F, $2. Picard is still working for the Borg as a spy.
Well, that's a hell of a twist.
He still look cute at heart.
At heart, Jesus.
Uh-huh.
But, at the very least, they're doing a mid-budget streaming exclusive. TV movies are still valid, right? Especially if you know what you've got sets-wise, or if you do a lot of it on location work, or if you're just very clever, go the Star Trek 2 route. Build a bridge, a corridor, a mess hall, redress, and crew quarters. The bridges, both ships. You could easily do standing sets to be a lot. That's what planning ahead is, Maybe if you don't make them as fancy, you could have gave them more from them, You could do a lot with a lot less.
Yeah. The other thing is going to be an ensemble piece. Like, are you going to have the other TNG cast members return or not? Because they didn't do that for season 1 of Picard, and I think that kind of bit them in the ass a little bit. They brought Riker in for, was it season 2 that he came in, or was that season 1? I can't remember.
Nepenthe was season 1. The best episode of season 1 was the one where they're all in, and they just moved away and had pizza.
And they added it later.
Yep.
Yeah, they added it later because it needed something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. Of course, I'm excited to get a new Star Trek, but
if done well,
that's the problem.
And if not given him creative control.
Yeah.
Because don't give Patrick creative control. He is not... he's had his thing with Picard season 1 too. And he was convinced into the good ideas in season 3. And as we know, it's the best season. By a gentle mile.
Say more than a gentle mile, but hey.
A gentle light year. There you go.
That's much better. Go vote on the poll, guys. We have 56 votes there, and 3 more likes to get to 100. So 3 people have not hit the like button. Why not? Yeah, I'm out of ideas and things to say.
Yes,
this is the way.
Now we want your closing thoughts, guys. And do talk about do the poll as well. I could, if I had my way, Stuart, I could very easily write a trilogy of movies with Patrick, film them all back to back, get all the scenes done in a year, you know, and then boom, you've got 3 movies. You could do it, right? Or if not, that's fine. Or, you know, bring back an animated. If he, you know, who'd say the script wasn't animated? You know,
cool.
wouldn't it be beautiful if he was in Lower Deck season, whatever season they're on? Wouldn't that be tremendous? You know, or have Prodigy, have him sing in on Enterprise F, whatever, in Prodigy, you know. It might be below them, but also it's a really good way of having them exist again.
Yeah. 2 more likes. Fleet Pod says, personally, I think we've seen enough of the crew of the USS Enterprise D&E, with the exception of the new Data and Worf. Let them rest. I'd love to see more of the new Data, honestly. With that being said, we've seen a lot of Brent Spiner over these 3 seasons of Picard.
And most of it's forgettable, except the Data stuff.
Yeah.
Which is what he was avoiding. But as I said before, the fact is these actors will stop being an act, get too fat, get too old, the fact they're all such good shape for season 3 is a miracle, right? Absolute incredibleness. At some point in all of our lifetime, we'll lose them all. And then there'll be a reboot in 20, 30 years when it becomes nostalgic. And like, wow, that was... They hired a real Frenchman to play Picard, because you have to be correct with the whatever. Okay. Like, whatever Paul Wesley does, he's not as good as Shatner. Like, there is a trueness to Shatner's real performance that is Kirk. He might be a good character actor, but the spark is not there. A different spark might be there, but it's not ever going to be, or the Sulu. Like, these are never going to live up to the originals, because the originals is what defined them. It's not just the character on paper, it's who actors brought to them. So once we lose these actors, that is them gone forever in a meaningful way. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if Patrick is open to reprising at his very old age and thinks he can physically do it, and he'll do it for not an A-list paycheck, because in the olden days he could charge obscene amount of money, right? He can't anymore, and that's A-okay. You know, if he's happy to do it, whatever. Like, use them while you got them, because in 20 years, you know, that's it. You know, it's important.
Super Coops makes a good point. Picard cameo on Lower Decks would be enough. Nothing else, thanks. I think that'd be fantastic, because they need to do like their movie episode in Lower Decks.
Ooh.
For the next season. So have a holographic Picard.
That's funny.
Joining them or something. That'd be great.
Boimler gets to work with his hero on the E. Great. You'd have to rebuild the sets. Yeah, that's great. Although, you know, for me, as I've said before, the cameos of George Takei on Lower Decks and on very short treks feel so unsatisfying, I'd rather not be there. Give them something meaningful. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Versus the cameo of Chekhov in Picard, that felt meaningful, even if it wasn't directly Chekhov. That had some punch to it, because we were adding to the character. Those didn't add anything to me.
Oh, you're absolutely right, yeah.
Thinking Cat, like, it wouldn't be Picard and it wouldn't be Stargazer. As in, they wouldn't rebuild the set faithfully. They'd have to update it, so it wouldn't even feel like it, you know. And I really don't want to go for the Academy vibe, the original pitch for Star Trek 6, which was, you know, we're going to have Leonard Nimoy and Stewart, Kirk in the first scene. Back in the day, Spock. Yes, Captain. Admiral. Admiral. Vice Admiral. President. Still getting promoted. And young people. I was like, it's not them, is it? Now, it worked for Days of Future Past, because that was very, very knowing what they were doing. And the future sequence was both very well done, quite long, and paid off at the end. That was a beautiful, but also the other cast was good, right? It was a payoff to a grand whatever. Anyway. Yeah. Crazy, Stuart. Crazy.
It is. So, do you want to end this poll?
Yes. Yes, I do.
64 votes. Would you be okay for Picard to be a guest in a movie? The winner is yes. Under 20 minutes of screen time, 51%. Second is nope. Hero of the movie at 35%. And I'm fine with under 5-minute cameo at 12%. Those are actually really interesting numbers.
Well, okay then.
And we hit 101 likes.
Oh,
It's like 101 Dalmatians, but better because they're likes.
Stuart says some funny things, doesn't he?
I do, especially when I'm tired, and I'm very tired right now.
I think we had a good discussion. This was a fun, we always go into interesting things. Speaking of, as obviously you've been saying, Stuart, Trekyards this Saturday. Be there or be square, because it'll be fun. Fun. In the sun.
You know what that saying means? Be there or be square?
No, actually.
Because if you're not square, if you're not around, you're not there, you're not around, which means you're square.
What if I'm a rhombus?
If you're not there, you're not around. Yeah.
What if I'm a dodecahedron? Square that circle, Stuart.
Don't have the desire or the energy to do so.
You don't have the time to talk about time. Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us for a conversation.
Yes.
And join us tomorrow. We're going to do an episode review of The Outcast, the next TNG.
And for whatever that episode is good at or not good at, it is a bloody amazing introduction usage of the new Star Trek, the Type 6 shuttles, full interior. Like, that is the best episode in all of TNG to see the interior set. This is my godsend for building a replica. It's absolutely insane how good.
I was going to say that tomorrow.
Yeah. It was my holy grail.
Really good shots of the inside of that ship.
Yeah. It really uses. Really helpful. There's always one episode that just like takes it. Yeah.
You even get to see the inside of the nacelle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like there's one
that.
episode of DS9 season 1 that shows the ceiling of the main corridor like no other episode. Believe me, I looked.
Join us for that review tomorrow.
Yes.
And then week after that, we'll have a TNG review of Cause and Effect. We're almost at a really good one.
And also, Stuart will have an episode review of Cause and Effect. It's a very good one.
Yeah, I've heard that. And also, next week we'll have an episode review of episode Cause and Effect.
And after, Stuart, our amazing Drunk Girls on Saturday, next week, Stuart, as you probably, if you're not checked, Cause and Effect will be a real review on our Trekyards channel, as you know.
Yeah. That's next week, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Outcast.
So what's next week?
Next week, we have the review of Cause and Effect.
I'm so excited. I love Cause and Effect, which is our next week's review, Stuart.
What? It is? Wow. Hey, did you know that the shuttles of the Titan are all named after jazz musicians?
Only Cause and Effect, Stuart, so that's our next week's review.
Cause and Effect next week. Anyway.
Until then.
We'll leave it there, guys. Until then. He's Commander Cockings.
He's got a Foley.